Liquid IV, the #1 powered hydration brand in America, is now available in sugar-free. Years in the making. Hydration Multiplier Sugar-Free uses proprietary zero sugar hydration solution with no artificial sweeteners. Grab your Liquid IV Hydration Multiplier Sugar-Free in bulk nationwide at Costco. We love Costco, but you know what's better? Get 20% off when you go to liquidiv.com and use the code IDKAT at checkout. That's 20% off anything when you order with the promo code IDKAT, IDKAT, at liquidiv.com. Kenny Rogers. Mm-hmm. Kenny from South Park.
Yep.
Kenny, the guy who lives down my street. Which one of them are gamblers? You might find out. I don't know about that with Jim Jefferies. Kenny down the street does gamble. He does dice in an alleyway. Has anyone ever played dice in an alleyway?
No, and I'm a compulsive gambler, and I've never done it.
Yeah, you've never. Yeah, when you're a compulsive gambler, did you ever do the cards?
Three-card money? No,
yeah,
no, that's not really. That's like a scam.
It's a scam.
I know how to do that.
Yeah,
I think the odds are good in that one.
No. They're double palming cards, aren't they, and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's a whole trick on how you stack them when you throw them.
No, the worst thing I did as a compulsive gambler was one time I was just high in college, and I was sitting there with my roommates, and this some women's bowling match came on, and we all made odds and took different women there, and we didn't know anything about it. It was just like bet on that, like just and also Little League World Series I bet on one time.
I've started gambling with my son and my wife and a girl called Anna, who also lives with us, who you people know, right?
That's people, yeah.
Anyway, so the four of us sat down to watch the Bachelorette, and I do like a fantasy football league where you get to pick people.
Baseball, yeah.
Well, fantasy, whatever. Any
You
fantasy
said football, but yeah.
Any fantasy sport.
Oh,
league.
yeah,
No,
you do
fantasy Bachelorette league.
I said like a fantasy.
Oh,
football.
I'm sorry.
So I'm doing this for the thing. So the thing is, when the guys step out of the car, you have to pick who's going to be the one that gets engaged to at the end,
okay.
right?
Yeah.
So when they step out of the car, you go, like if you dibs a person, you only get 5 picks, right, between the 4 of you. There's about 25 people. Everyone gets 5 people each, and then 5 duds just get left, I think. If they step out of the vehicle, you got to go, take him. And then if no one takes the person, they're still sitting a bit later, you can wait and see if maybe she's got some chemistry and then go take him, you know what I mean? So you can pick these.
There's like a looks thing, and then
Who's
there's a
your guy?
personality
There's
is later.
I got 5 guys. I got guys. I got guys for days. I got that guy that got in trouble and then still got the first
Braden?
impression rose. Still got the first impression rose.
He's creepy.
Anyway, so all these guys step out, right? And so my son's going along, he's picking people and all that type of stuff. We've all got like $2 in it, a bit of pocket money of his, just to put it,
Yeah, it's good.
teach the child.
Yeah.
And so we're all gambling on the thing. Anyway, they did this big reveal. They go, this next guy that's coming out of the limousine has a history with you. He's someone you know, and he wanted to be here. And like this, so it's like you think, it's going to be an ex-boyfriend or something like that. But it turns out it's her brother, and her brother's coming out to wish her good luck, and there's another little storyline, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Right? But the brother steps out of the car, and my son goes, I'll take him!
The best part is they had the brothers stay in the house and pretend to be a bartender through the cocktail party so he could listen in on what the guys were saying. But the disguise that he was wearing.
The disguise, they called him undercover brother. The disguise on this guy would put undercover boss to shame. Undercover boss would blush if they were to see this disguise and go, oh, that's not passable. And I've seen some pretty shitty undercover boss disguises.
He's wearing a fake mustache, a Jerry curl wig, and a fedora.
Yeah, so that's him in the bow tie there. He's normally a bald guy.
Okay, hold on a second. I didn't know that the Bachelorette was black.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I thought that guy was in blackface for a second.
No.
I don't watch the show. So.
He wouldn't call himself undercover brother.
That's why he's undercover brother.
Okay, no, I know, but I thought, like, what's happening?
But it was like one of the guys at one point goes, is that a stick-on mustache? It was so bizarre that they were trying to pass this off as a legitimate disguise. It was so funny.
Well, okay, so I'll go through. So you got your undercover boss, which is like some of the disguises are like, what the fuck are you
atrocious.
doing? What the fuck are you doing? This is not fooling anyone. It's like, we're telling them that they're being filmed for a documentary about someone trying to start a fast food chain. Let's go. And then the guy's like got like tattoos that have been painted on that are very clearly like just paint.
Every day he comes to work, they're a little bit different.
Yeah. And
Hey, your tattoo is smudging.
And then it's always like people like this, like, so like, I just want to learn the fast food industry. So your mom has cancer and you can't drive to work? That must be really hard, right? That's what happens in every undercover. But if you're an undercover boss, you just fucking have to fake cancer or something. You'll get given some money, right? If they pick you. Anyway, those disguises are bad. This one was very bad. But the worst has to go to 24 Hours to Hell and Back, or whatever it's called. The Gordon Ramsay, when he did
my God.
He got rid of Kitchen Nightmares. And he decided to go for this thing where he brought a truck into town. And he went, restaurants are going under faster than possible. That's why I've only given myself 24 hours. We all know how it is in TV, Gordon. You said, I won't do another season of that where I have to go out to fucking this town for 3 weeks. I'll do it in 24 hours. Sold, right? And I'll bring a truck. That'll juice it up. But he goes, whenever I show up to the restaurants, people know that I'm coming. So Gordon Ramsay, all 6'4" of him, often will dress up as...
He's that tall?
Oh, he's a big man.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
He's a big man. So Gordon Ramsay will rock up at these fucking restaurants dressed like a grandma. Like with put Gordon Ramsay disguises on 24-Hour Kitchen. This is like... And then like...
Is Medea?
Yeah, he's Medea, right? He's Medea. He comes into the restaurant, which knows that he's coming, and he sits there and orders food. He's like, can I please have
this old woman. You're like, that's Gordon Ramsay in a wig and a hat.
The pilot one's insane.
Wait, let me see.
I mean, that's the I think you should leave sketch, that pilot one.
The pilot's awful, but that's Gordon Ramsay.
Gordon Ramsay. And then he stands up in the restaurant like this. Everyone, stop eating. Like this, and they're like, and everyone in the restaurant's like, what? What's wrong with that grandma with the British accent who looks like Gordon Ramsay?
Very masculine grandma.
And then he pulls off the wig, and everyone's like, are you fucking kidding me?
Oh my God!
Like you'd be like, look, yeah. At the very minimum, people would go, oh, that's an 80-year-old trans.
This title here says Gordon Ramsay is completely unrecognizable as he dresses as... No. His disguises are always just Gordon Ramsay. It's Joanna Man, but just as a chef. Like in that movie, like his wig comes off at the end and they're like, what? This guy that was the most famous basketball player? You are currently...
Oh, I have something we all have to watch. Has anyone got Hulu on their computer or something like that?
No.
Oh, okay. We got to find it for later on.
What is it?
Did anyone watch that Almost Famous show where people are famous relatives?
Oh no.
It's hosted by the Jonas Brothers. It's on before The Bachelorette.
I saw an ad for it. Yeah.
Okay, so it's like cousins of someone's sister. Like Tiffany Haddish's sister was in one season. Whoopi Goldberg's granddaughter was in, and they all compete for $100,000, and you have to keep your identity of who it is, right?
Oh my God.
Anyway, Tom Hanks's niece. We got to find this footage for the next episode. Tom Hanks's niece was on the first episode. She gets called out first, and she fucking loses her shit on camera, where she starts screaming and throwing things, going, I deserve more camera time. This was too obvious. I didn't even get to do a fucking challenge. It's worth watching.
Oh my God.
Best TV I've seen in years.
The Hanks family, other than Colin, they're all a wreck.
The Hanks fan, I don't know what Tom Hanks does. Like, he must just come back and suck the lifeblood out of him to make him seem so nice all the time. But the rest of the family is like,
Chet and over this woman.
Yeah.
You are, I think you're in Australia now, shooting the
1% Club.
1% Club.
We'll be there. 1% Club. We're filming 12 episodes instead of 10 this time, so we got even more episodes. So there's like 15 episodes in the can for Australians to watch right now.
And when you come back, 25th and 26th, you're going to be in Hartford, Connecticut, Providence, Rhode Island, then Canada, and locally, Thousand Oaks, Anaheim, Oakland. It's all on JimJefferies.com. Go there, and then go to IDKAT Podcast on Instagram. Follow us on there. We should have way more people following us. Oh, by the way, August 29th, too. We have way more listeners than we have followers on the thing. August 29th.
Fucking like Tom Hanks' niece over here.
What the fuck?
Why don't we have more followers? You pieces of shit.
It's bullshit. August 29th, we will have a live podcast at Flappers. And if you live in the LA area, or even if you don't, fly in and watch the live podcast. It's our first one that we're doing, and it'll be fun. We plan on doing a lot more, so go to that.
Flappers, that was originally a strip club, you know, for wide women.
Oh dear.
All right, we'll edit that out.
I didn't say big, I said
wide.
Just broad, just.
Oh, and
slurs.
go to my website too, where you're at fourshot.net. I got shows coming
Scott
up
liked it.
in Montana, Las Vegas. I'll be in Vegas. Somewhere else, Miami.
Should we say that Scott Sabinski's in the room?
Scott Zabinski's here.
Scott Zabinski.
Scott Zabinski.
Yeah.
Zabilski.
There you go.
The Zimbabwe.
Otherwise known as Kelly's brother. That's all he's ever done in his life.
Scott is the person who brought all these people in this room together, except for me and Forrest.
Yeah.
It's true.
But he's technically brought us together in a different way.
No, I brought you into that.
Yeah,
job.
yeah, that's
You
true.
didn't know you.
That's not true.
I had to really hard sell you.
I don't think so.
Not anymore. He loves you now.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
at the
but-
beginning, it was a hard ask. Trust me on this guy. Trust me.
Please welcome our guest, Michael Kosta.
Hello, Margaret Costa. Now it's time to talk about tennis. Oh, wait a minute. Let's see what we're talking about.
Okay.
Yes, though.
What?
Yes, though. Judging a book by its cover.
We're talking about tennis because everyone knows that about Michael.
How do you know we're not talking about The Daily Show?
He's on the. Why would anyone want to talk about the bloody Daily Show? Just a poor man's Jim Jefferies show, isn't it?
But every day.
Yeah, every day and for about 20 more years than my show. You could argue it was more successful, but I don't want to get into this debate. We could go either way.
All right, let me introduce him properly then. Michael Kosta is a stand-up comedian, writer, and former tennis player. He was a former college and pro tennis player, achieving a world tennis ranking of number 864. Michael Kosta is a correspondent for Comedy Central's The Daily Show, and his 1-hour Comedy Central special, Michael Kosta, Detroit, New York, LA, is available on Paramount Plus and YouTube. Check out michaelkosta.com for all his upcoming tour dates, and he has a podcast as well called Tennis Anyone. So download and listen to that wherever you listen to podcasts, and find him on IG and Twitter at Michael Kosta.
All right.
Yeah, you want to tell us a little bit about your background in tennis, Michael?
Sure. Yeah, I kind of gave it away with this prop racket in the back, but it's like one of those things that's been sitting in my closet for 11 years and I never get to use it. So this was the moment.
Well worth it.
Tennis was my first choice of profession. It was what I always dreamed of, being a Grand Slam champion. I played junior tennis, then I played collegiate tennis at University of Illinois. Then I played professional tennis for around 2 to 3 years before I went bankrupt, ran out of money. Then I coached for 2 years at the University of Michigan, which is where I first started doing stand-up comedy at the open mic scene in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And now I'm a stand-up comic. But I love the sport. It actually has a lot of similarities to individual stand-up comedy. And sometimes I wonder if I should be talking about tennis less. But I love it. So let's talk about it.
Well, we always say, because sometimes you're an expert, at least today, because you know more about tennis than we do. Maybe not Scott. He's in the corner. So.
When I tell the general public my career high ranking, they laugh. When I tell anybody in the tennis world, they go, "Holy shit, that's pretty good."
Yeah.
So it's like it's the best I've ever been at anything. And still, I made $11,000 over 3 years. So,
how high can you rank up to?
when I was playing, they were ranking like 3,000. So there was a lot of people tied for 3,000. That would be 1 ATP point. My highest, I think I had 13 ATP points. So, if you really do the math on global players and what percentage you are, I mean, that would be, I don't know how many players are in the NBA, NFL. I mean, I like to think I was probably in the major leagues, but never really playing or doing anything significant, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah. That's my major league career all over. Who's the biggest player you ever played?
I missed the question. Sorry.
Who's the biggest, most famous, whatever, most player we would recognize that you played?
I lost to James Blake many times in the juniors. And the closest I ever had to an actual real professional result that would raise eyebrows was my last round qualifying at the RCA championships. I lost to a guy named Julian Beneteau, who probably only Scott knows that name in that room, but he was a top 50 in the world player. Other than that, I did not play any household names. I was playing in cities like Zihuatanejo, Mexico, where
that's
if
where
that rings a bell-
Shawshank Redemption ends at the end of Zankaneko.
That's right.
Yeah, there you go. I know
Exactly
that.
right.
I know that.
I played in
The
a
tennis
small
mecca.
island tournament off of South Korea. I mean, these were places that had one hotel. Every single tennis person was staying there. You know, this wasn't sexy pro tennis life.
And what do you consider to be sexy pro tennis life then?
London, Wimbledon,
Oh,
Paris,
yes.
French
no,
Open.
no, yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, the Grand Slams. I know about those.
The ones you see on TV.
Yeah, the
Jim.
ones I don't watch any of it on TV, but it's. I don't really watch tennis, but I did watch it in sort of my teens.
You had to in Australia. It's
In
just
Australia,
fun, right?
it's on regular TV just constantly.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna ask Jim.
Jim, I would suspect that you know a lot about tennis just because your country of origin is obsessed with it.
We're obsessed with tennis. Yeah. I thought every country in the world watched all the Grand Slams. Like it was just like watching the Super Bowl. If a Grand Slam was on, you watched it. And living in Britain, I found that not to be the case. Living here, I found that not to be the case. It's no, Australians have it just on regular TV all the time, and people talk about it at work and shit.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I used to like Hingis.
Hingis?
I don't know. No,
Yeah.
yeah, she did it for me, Hingis. There was a lot of other pretty tennis players going there, but that was me number one was Hingis.
Weird name.
Martina Hingis. You never heard of Hingis?
He's young. He doesn't
I don't know
remember.
anything.
Yeah.
Ah, shut up, Jack.
Martina Hingis had there was something about her that young men connected to, and I would put myself in that
Yep.
camp as well, Jim.
There was something because they had all these other Kornikovas and Steffi Graf, big tall blonde, but
Yeah.
Martina Hingis, that was me girl. If you listen out
Yeah.
there, Hingy, I'll leave me wife right now. You probably don't like to be called Hingy.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna ask
right.
Jim a series of questions about tennis, and then at the end of him
I'll get
answering
back, I'll get
those,
back.
Michael, you're gonna grade him on accuracy 0 through 10. Kelly's gonna grade him on confidence. I'm gonna grade him on et cetera, and we'll add those all together. Oh boy, yeah, I forgot to do this. 21 through 30. Muy bueno. 11 through 20. Okay.
that's
0 through
good.
10. Muy malo. All right. Not even listening. Good. Okay, Jim. In what country did tennis originate?
Oh, I would say tennis would be originate in England, and that's just because, all right, love. That's 40, love.
Okay.
That's 15, love.
All right.
I reckon that's why.
All right. Where does the word tennis come from? Do you know?
Tennis from the Latin to hit with racket.
So Latin.
Yeah.
That's good.
How many games are required to win a set in professional tennis?
Game, set, match. So wait a minute. So the game, set, the game's the little bit, the set's the big bit,
Yeah.
the thing. So you got to go 15 love, 30 love, 40 love. So you need to win 4.
4 games to win a set.
Yeah,
Okay.
4. But then there'll be things deuce and stuff like that. But like in the quickest way, 4.
How does scoring work?
15, 30, 40, win. Deuce, and then advantage, and win.
And why is it done this way? Why is it scoring like
Because people like to be cunts. Why is anything done in any way? Like the reality of it is, and I know there'll be an argument about this. You could go 1, 2, 3, 4. But
Yeah.
people don't want to make things simple, do they?
that? Okay. The next question.
It's the same reason that medicines aren't just called acne cream. They're called amoxicillin.
Pain reliever.
Yeah, because people are cunts. Mate.
How many sets do you need to win a match? Should have asked that right after that.
Game, set, match. In the men's, you need to win 5 sets. In the women's, you need to win 3.
All right, good. What are the big 3 in men's tennis? Who are the big 3?
Well, I see. My tennis life is ended with about Sampras and Agassi, but so you got Dokic. Fucking who's the other cunt? The other one that he always plays all
I don't
the
know
time.
if this is like the big three is something current, or I don't know the answer to this. So.
The big three of all time, I'll go McEnroe, Dokic, and Sampras.
Okay, and the greatest of all time? Who's considered the greatest of all
The
time?
greatest of all time.
Men's. let's say.
Yeah, this would be open to
Men and female, you can do both.
I would say Bjorn Borg.
Okay, and then
At
female.
at his peak. Female, I will go Monica Seles right before she was stabbed.
Okay. Which tournament?
Yeah.
See, you remembered that she was stabbed. You know more about tennis. Which tournament is considered the most prestigious in the world?
The Wimbledon would be the most prestigious, but Wimbledon was also the last one to have equal pay. All the other tennis Grand Slams had equal pay, and they went on for a very long time until it got to within like 50 grand. The prize money was like 1.2 to 1.25, and they just kept on being cunts about it. But Wimbledon.
What is the term used when a player wins all 4 Grand Slam titles in a single year?
That's winning the Grand Slam. That's called a. Fuck, I know that. All right, come back to me.
And what about when they win it in their career? So you can win it in 1 year, all of them in 1
It's
year?
an EGOT.
Okay. Who holds the record for the most Grand Slam singles titles won by a male player? It's men's.
It's the player I can't. Fernando. What's the fucking name?
Fernando?
No. It's
Oh,
not Dokic. It's the other bloke.
for
Talking about Rafael Nadal?
Rafael Nadal.
that
Oh no,
who you're
Rafael
going
Nadal. No, Nadal. I don't want Nadal.
That's
I'm
who
going to
you're-
go
that's your-
Dokic then.
I think he's trying to. Are you trying to go for Federer?
Federer.
Yeah.
Federer's the one. Fuck, he's been. So it's Federer, Nadal, and Dokic will be the three.
What
the big
about
ones.
women Grand Slam titles? Who holds that record?
I think it's Martina Navratilova, but it might be Serena Williams. But I think it might still be Martina Pavlova.
Wait, Pavlova?
I know, I'm being funny. I'm a comedian.
Okay. What is a tweener?
I'm not allowed to talk about that anymore.
What about a Hawkeye?
Hawkeye, he's a wise-cracking type of... I've gone like Norm MacDonald. He's a wise-cracking doctor that works at the 4077.
From MASH?
No, a different 4077.
He's pointing at me.
point at Kelly.
Why is this my fault? Why is it
I'm
always my
pointing
fault?
across. I'm not pointing across. If I point you, I point like that.
Point across the camera so then we can see your hand
Like
in
that.
camera.
What is the term for a shot in tennis that is hit before the ball bounces?
Volley.
What is the name of the line at the back of the tennis court?
I want to change my big three to Pat Cash, Pat Rafter, and Leighton Hewitt.
Okay.
I mean, it's unbelievable the baseline knowledge that just an Australian who says I don't really follow the sport knows.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, I'm sure it's outrageous. I'm so, humored by many of your answers, but also impressed that you can even pull Pat Cash out of your hat.
Look, Pat. What
The 87 Wimbledon champion,
the
obviously
first Australian
but,
to win
you-
Wimbledon.
You got a lot. You
And
got a lot in there.
So it
dude.
was 1987, so I would have been 10 years old, and I was watching Pat Cash win Wimbledon, and we were all watching around the TV, and Pat had a baby, and he went over and hugged his baby and his girlfriend. He was not married, and my mother was outraged. Oh, it's disgusting that he's representing Australia with an unwed bastard child. And also, incidentally, my manager, this is like my manager in Australia, if he's listening, he'll be pissed off with this. Andrew Taylor, who manages me, he's had a varied career because he manages me, Luke Longley, and Pat Cash.
Does he?
Yeah, he manages Pat Cash for all,
Quite
his
the
public,
roster.
for all of his public talking, speaking type of things. Oh, yeah, he's got a real roster. Like, people ring the office up, like, who do you need? Oh, do you need a tall guy, a tennis player, or a guy who says cut a lot? We've got them all.
What were you
I
saying?
actually blame Pat Cash for Monica Seles' stabbing. Let me explain.
Because
He was the first player to go into the player's box after winning. Now, Monica Seles didn't go in the player's box to get stabbed, but it kind of broke that barrier between fan and player. And as we know, German fan ran on the court and stabbed Monica Seles. So I've long held that the international courts should try Pat Cash in the second-degree stabbing of Monica Seles.
I blame Kurt Cobain for Chris Rock getting slapped by Will Smith for the same reason.
Okay.
He really crowd surfed more than anyone else. Right. There should be a fence between us and the audience. They shouldn't be allowed to get near us.
Yeah.
But he opened up that fence, and now Will Smith's just slapping everyone.
I like how he acts like Will Smith is just a regular audience member who now has access to a celebrity.
He is a regular audience member at that stage when there's a microphone involved.
Let me ask like 2 or 3 more questions. We'll start talking to Michael. All right. Which tennis player famously won the Battle of the Sexes match in 1973?
I watched the movie with Steve Carell, and I know about this. Billie Jean King.
Okay. We already asked this. Which Australian player is just like you, Jim? Likes to party and doesn't want to work, but is naturally talented.
That's the Greek fella. I like him. He comes up and he just goes, "I didn't even practice. I didn't even do nothing. I just come out here and play tennis. I'm good at it. I'm good at tennis. I think I fucking hate this sport. You guys are losers for watching me."
It's so
You know his name?
Yeah, I don't know his name, but that's the dude. It's Kaligarakis or it's a Greek name.
Cucamonga.
Yeah.
What?
Nick Costa Rukas or
Okay. Couple more questions. We'll get to all these. I'll get to
Costa
the ones we
Rukas.
didn't ask. What is the name of the famous tennis stadium located in Flushing Meadows, New York?
That's where the U.S. It's Flushing Meadows, New York. He was there. I became the nanny. I'm gonna. It's just the U.S. I don't know the name of it. I'm sorry.
How many seats does the biggest venue have?
Well, as someone who has sold out the Rod Laver Arena in Australia, where they hold the Australian Open, the first Australian comic ever to do it. Sadly, Chris Rock and Kevin Hart had done it before me, but still, I take
Not
that.
as good.
Yes, that's 14,000 seats, but I had a stage at the back. So then we got to add. I'm going to go 38,000.
And it's Rod Laver?
No, it's not Rod Laver.
Oh, you just wanted to throw that in there. Okay.
No. But then I could imagine a country that was bigger, like America.
Oh, yeah.
And what would that stadium look like?
How long was the longest tennis match? What year did it happen?
Is that professional tennis match? Because the two guys that invented it took for fucking ever.
That's professional.
And I've done it with a mate where I'm just lobbing it over. Oh, I have another go. Okay, the longest professional one, that would have been. I'll go Bjorn. I'll go Boris Becker, and Mark Philippoussis.
I can't tell if these are real or not.
These are real names that he's pulling like names.
Yeah. Mark the Scud. Yeah, don't worry about that. Don't worry about the Scud. And Mark Philippoussis, Boris Becker, 1996.
All right, Michael.
But how long was it? Was the question?
4 hours, 76 minutes, and another 2 hours.
76 minutes.
I know I need to drink more water because I'm always struggling with that, and because water is so boring. You're just like,
It is hard to drink enough water.
it's boring. I'm so bored. I need something that tastes great and has health benefits. Liquid IV has come up with the perfect solution. Liquid IV, the number one powdered, that's true, but it also is powered by powdered hydration brand in America is now available in sugar-free. Years in the making, Hydration Multiplier Sugar-Free uses proprietary zero sugar hydration solution with no artificial sweeteners. With 3 times the electrolytes of leading sports drinks plus 8 vitamins and nutrients for everyday wellness, Liquid IV hydrates 2 times faster than water alone. Keep your daily routine, keep exciting with 3 new flavors. Wild peach.
White peach.
Green. It's wild. White peach. Good point. White peach. Well, you should call it wild peach.
Yeah,
That would
wild
bloody
peach sounds
fly off
good.
the shelves. But we'll go with their names: white peach, green grape, and lemon lime. Look, I tell you what, I've done the IVs when I've been hungover and all that type of stuff. And I tell you what, if this stuff was available, because I've had this recently, I've started exercising because I'm trying to lose weight at the moment, and I've been using the liquid IV. It does hydrate quicker. You can actually feel it go through your body. If this stuff was available while I was drinking, I'd still be drinking. I can't give you a bigger endorsement than that. 1 stick of liquid IV is 16 ounces of water, hydrates you 2 times faster and more efficiently than water alone. And this is really cool. Liquid IV believes that equitable access to clean and abundant water is the foundation of a healthier world. What does that mean, Forrest?
Well, because people need water to drink. So the clean water is one of the biggest limiting factors for people to have healthy and happy lives.
That's good because they have partnered with leading organisations to fund and foster innovative solutions to help communities protect both their water and their futures. To date, Liquid IV has donated over 39 million servings of in 15... Let me do that again. To date, Liquid IV has donated over 39 million servings to 50-plus countries around the world.
That's a massive amount.
It is a lot of people. That's a lot of people who are hydrated. Real people, real favour, real hydrating. No, now let me do that again. Can you make it a point there, Jack?
Yep.
Real people, real flavour, real hydrating. Now sugar-free. Grab your Liquid IV Hydration Multiplier sugar-free in bulk nationwide at Costco, or get 20% off when you go to liquidiv.com and use the code IDKAT at checkout. IDKAT. That's 20% off anything you order when you use the code IDKAT at liquidiv.com.
Michael, how did Jim do on his knowledge of tennis? 0 through 10. 10's the best.
I'm quite impressed. Just not that Mark Philippoussis was ever an answer, but the fact that he just threw it in there like to show his work is impressive. Pat Cash. I think it's great that he didn't know Nick Kyrgios's last name, but he did know, even though he didn't know that he knew this, his doubles partner's name was Kokkinakis.
Yeah.
So he actually said Nick Kokkinakis. So like he's actually playing a weird matrix where he knows more than he's aware
Play with
of.
Kokkinakis, he's good.
My favorite answer to why is the scoring like that, because people are cunts. I think that's a great explanation. I would give him a 7 out of 10.
Pretty good.
Nice.
Pretty good.
Or as you would call it in your industry, a 68 love.
Yeah.
Because you don't go above 4.
How do you do on confidence,
Well,
Kelly?
there was a question that we didn't get to that
ask it. Come on. Bring it in.
3 of the current top men's and women's players, and I was going to give you the option to let my 7-year-old nephew answer it for you for extra points.
Oh, yeah,
if you feel confident in his.
I'm down that. No, well... Oh.
Do you want to try?
Let
and
me
then
try first, and then let's
Okay,
ring
great.
the child.
I've just got a recorded voice.
Oh,
voice
young
note.
Jack.
It's Alex.
Alex! Oh,
Yeah.
I don't trust Alex as much. I'm not going to do it. Jack's me guy. He knows everything. No, I'll take Alex. I'll take Alex for 400, please. Okay, so
Top 3. What is the question?
Top 3 men's and women's current.
Okay, so women's, we'll go Serena Williams, and there's an Australian girl who's very good at the moment who got to number 1. Because I know this because I was doing the game show and someone mentioned her. I didn't know who her name. I haven't lived there for a long time. And everyone in the studio was fucking outraged. They wouldn't even talk to me because I didn't know this girl's name. But there's an Australian girl, Serena Williams.
Oh, and to be clear, it doesn't have to be the top 3. It's just 3 top current players. Sorry, I think we said.
Serena.
Serena.
Australian lady with no name.
Australian lady with no name. And Yurgachev. And then the other 3 would be the ones that Roger Federer, Dokic, and I'm just going to say, bring him out of retirement, Leighton Hewitt.
Yeah.
Leighton Hewitt.
Okay.
All right, Michael. So you heard his answers.
Oh, Rocky. Go, Rocky. That's if you're Leighton Hewitt fans back out there.
See if this will be.
But
Okay, Alex wants to answer the question about 3 players for men's and women's. He's insisting, so I'm giving him the phone to answer.
Swiatek, golf, and Sabalenka for women's. And for men, Alcaraz, Rune, and Rude.
That looks like a well-adjusted child who hasn't been fed answers.
His answers were better.
Most of
I play
Jim's
today?
answers are retired tennis players.
Yeah, I live in the past, man. Can I play today? No, go upstairs and learn your tennis players.
He's obsessed with sports. He knows everything. It's crazy.
How old's your nephew?
7.
So 7-year-old beat you, Jim.
Yeah.
My 2-year-old's obsessed with baseball, and I haven't pushed it on him at all. He'll walk up to you with the glove like, "Ah," and then you put it on TV. It calms him down. He sits there and goes, "Ball!"
I give Jim an 8 on confidence.
All right, 7.5, 15.5. I'll give you 20 on et cetera. Muy, muy bueno.
Right.
And what country did tennis
Solid.
originate? Jim says England because they say, all right, love.
That was a great answer.
You know, my understanding is that the scoring was devised by French and English aristocrats to prevent the lower class, the lower educated, from adopting this sport. And you said a thing, Jim, that makes me laugh, which was like, why don't they just do 1, 2, 3, 4? Well, that's essentially what pickleball does. And we're drawing a distinction between an elite sport, elite athletes, and
tennis.
dilly checkers pickleball. And so I kind of like that tennis has this elitism. It was the scoring was designed to keep dumb people from playing. Good job. It still works.
I've played it.
Well,
Congrats, you're not dumb.
Yeah, because 15, 30, 40, yeah, and then love. Yeah.
Well, love is because in French they were saying egg, and the English thought this, mispronunciation of love. That's the origin. I know that to be true.
Oh, because egg meaning like a 0.
Egg means 0, yeah.
Right.
And I've always envisioned like a clock, 15, 30, 40
No,
game.
That's 45. You
So-
can't just slip in the 40. you had
little
me.
loose.
You had me with your clock. You're going, you just go 15, 30, 40. Okay. You can't fluff over the bloody 45. You had me.
You know what's funny? I was about to go, and I didn't, and then I was like, wait, Jim's right. It is. He had actually convinced me. I was like,
My wife the other day, she goes, "What time is it?" And I looked at my watch, and she goes, "Do you actually use that to read time?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's why I have it. It's a fucking time thing I keep on my wrist."
Hers must not be wound or in time.
No, I bought my wife a nice watch, and she just fucking wears it as jewelry. It doesn't know what time it is. She doesn't care. I don't think she knows how to read time with arms. I haven't tested her. But that generation's not as...
Yeah, I mean, I have watches that I don't check to see if they're wound properly, because I rarely wear them. So if I throw them on, it's just for
as soon as
an
I put a watch
accessory.
on, I put the date and everything in, so I
Same,
can
yeah,
walk,
mine's up to date.
walk around with the date.
That's real men's hobbies guys.
I've got one watch that puts the day. I go, it's Wednesday. I know it's fucking pointless. I'm never going to check my wrist for Wednesday.
I don't know. Sometimes you don't know what day it is.
Yeah. And a thing that you've wounded yourself, that's going to be the most reliable source.
Yes, it is.
do we know where the word tennis comes from? Jim said it's Latin to hit with a racket.
I don't know the answer to that because I assume the English stole it from the French and then perfected it in their monarchy and grass court. So I would assume it has a French origin, but
So was the grass court of England the original, or the clay court of France the original? I assume concrete wasn't the original.
I don't know the answer to that. I know that there's many iterations of tennis that preceded it. There was something called stick, STICKE, that was like a racquetball backyard, but it was all rich people that had lawns.
Right.
That's why Wimbledon is the All England Lawn and Tennis Club. But it's a great question about the clay court. I don't know.
And also,
And a real expert admits when they don't know something.
what surface did you enjoy the most?
Well, I liked winning. And I won most on a hard court, an American hard court. I love playing on clay. It's great on the body. You can slide. It's a lot of fun, but I would just get smoked. I would just get killed. These Europeans are so good on clay, and I suck so bad. Not a lot of opportunity for me to play on grass just because it's so expensive to maintain those courts. They don't really exist. So I would say hard court for me personally. And in LA, there's not as much clay court tennis either. It's mostly hard court, and that suited my game. Big serve, good competitor, and everything else after that was a big bluff. Kind of like my comedy.
I loved playing it. I played a lot when I was younger. I went to tennis camp when I was younger, and in Florida there seemed to be a lot of clay courts. That was the fun part, was sliding.
I've never even set foot on a clay court.
Yeah.
That freaks me out watching it now because, like, with bad knees, I just think about the sliding and then your knee popping out. And
I prefer to play on grass because I'm a serve volleyer.
Ooh.
a serve volley.
Yeah, I mean, Australia for many years dominated grass court tennis. They were one of the only nations that everyone was serving and volleying all the time. In fact, to this day, every Australian tennis player knows how to volley, knows how to play the net. The name you were thinking of, Jim, was Ash Barty. Excellent female tennis player that had an excellent all-around game. But the Australians really knew how to volley. And it doesn't surprise me that Jim Jefferies is a serve and volleyer.
I'm a serve volleyer. Me and Pat, both the Pats, the Rafter and the Cash, we're all serve volleyers down under.
Yeah, I know you were like making a face like that. You wanted another point for knowing the serve volley, right?
It's an Australian thing.
Okay.
You didn't know? We're Australians still got this, the bloody modern game. They got these fucking rackets. They hit it too hard. Ooh, a lovely serve volleyer. That's tennis. If you want to watch tennis, a lovely bloody serve volleyer. That's how the game was meant to play. Not standing 17 feet behind the fucking backline, bashing it as hard as you can like a bunch of cunts. Nah, serve volley. That's an Australian way. Except for Kyrgios, which he just mashes it, I think.
How many games are required to win a set in professional tennis? Jim said 4 games.
Yeah, that's incorrect. It's 6 games, and it's win by 2. So it's possible to win a set 7-5. At 5-all, you can win by 2. But then at 6-all, you play a tiebreaker, which gets you to 7-6. So
I was mixing up my games and my points up. I knew that. I was just wrong.
Yeah. I mean, I was impressed that you went to game scoring, but yeah, it's 6 games to win a set. Typically, unless it goes into a tiebreak.
I always find when you watch professional tennis, right, when does it swap over from like just being a person who plays recreationally to a professional? Because whenever I played as a kid, when I had to serve, that was the game that I was going to lose because there was a lot of chances that I was going to double fault and not get in there. But then when does the serve become a preferable thing?
Well, the serve is the only shot in the sport that you have complete control over the ball. So typically, return of serve, volley, forehand, back, all of that is incumbent on your opponent providing you the ball, and your opponent is trying to make it difficult for you. So with proper training, with good coaching, with many, many years of practice, your serve should become your best shot. So all you're admitting to me now is that you had a shit serve.
Oh, terrible serve. Terrible, the worst.
Which is too bad because previously you described yourself as a serve and volley.
No. Good point.
Called out.
My serve was terrible. My volley was off the hook. My volley was so good you forgave the serve. I was just a volley and volleyer.
It's really fun because of that part of the sport where you have complete control over the ball with the serve. It also is ripe for choking, much like golf, how they can sit there and think about the putt forever. And one of the best is this current German player named Sasha Zverev, who, like you mentioned, Kelly, sliding on the clay, absolutely exploded his ankle at the French Open last year, sliding on clay, had to be taken off in a wheelchair. It was this big thing.
Oh, God.
But when he gets tight, he fucks up his serve so badly. It's like watching a beginner. Like, this is a guy who's been top 5 in the world in tennis. He actually forgets how to serve. It's very humorous.
For us.
Look, as a person who's never played tennis, I feel like I can say that, but I feel like you're not allowed to because you only reached 800 and something. That's like a comic who's got a few paid gigs going, and I tell you what, that Chris Rock does wrong.
That's true. It is true. It's easy for me to be critical. I have never once even come close to stepping foot on a court where the Grand Slams are played.
That's why I can be critical, because I'm never even going to get close to what you ever fucking did. Yeah. So I'm allowed to judge from my big ivory chair like this. I live in an ivory chair, don't question it.
I wasn't going to.
It's made from one tusk.
That's cool.
Wow.
Yeah, massive.
Sounds small.
Massive elephant it was.
Oh, big elephant.
And how many sets to win a match? Jim said 5 in men's, 3 in women's. Is that right?
I mean, it's right if it goes the distance. Technically, in a Grand Slam in a man, you only have to win 3 to win the match. It's 3 out of 5. So that's kind of a technicality.
Best of 5, best of 3.
Yeah.
Do you think, because I watched a documentary a long time ago about the pay difference between the men and the women and all that sort of stuff, and part of the argument for women not getting paid as much is that they only had to play to 3 sets and men had to play to 5 sets, and the women were like, we don't give a fuck, we'll play 5 because this is a constraint that you've put on us, this 3 thing. Do you see a future where women will be playing 3, or men will drop back down to play 5, or men will drop back down to 3?
It's one of those debates that if you even start to talk about it, somebody on Twitter gets mad at you. But I would love to see women play 5. I think that would be a lot of fun. I mean, you've got a lot of complexities with this topic, because there was one year when Serena Williams was playing that the women's final sold out faster than the men's final. Oh, yeah. So therefore, women's tennis was generating more money faster than the men's final. But typically, there's more parity in the men's game. They play longer. Equal pay is it's getting very close to equal pay. It's still not there completely, but it's a great debate. Novak Djokovic one time said, well, we play longer, we should get paid more. Then he got absolutely crushed. But it's a good discussion. I think ultimately all the Grand Slams have equal pay, and I would love to see women play 5. That would be awesome.
Okay, let's just talk about the pay thing. It's pretty impressive, really, that tennis is the only sport where it is very close to being equal, and that's
saying the Grand Slams the same. Yeah,
it's exactly the same in all the 4 Grand Slams. Yeah. And but like they do draw, because I've been interested in women's tennis my whole life. As I said, there was things that lived inside me as a young boy.
Even watching it from a young kid too, I never differentiated like that's women's, not men's. I just liked watching tennis.
I think it's the only sport where you don't have to sell it. The women's side of the sport and go, well, they're just as good as blah 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 blah. No, it's been always seems to have been that way, where people enjoy watching female. Why is that? There's my next question. Why is that over other sports?
Billie Jean King. I mean, Billie Jean King is the short answer, which is also the name of the tennis center where the U.S. Open is played. I mean, I wasn't sure, Forrest, if you were asking about the tennis center or Arthur Ashe Stadium, but Billie Jean King is an enormous, enormous, enormous reason why there is close to equal pay. It's one of the only sports you'll watch on TV. They'll cut to a women's match, cut to a men's match, cut to a women's match, cut to a men's match.
Can you imagine if the
NBA did that?
Yeah.
A lot of broken TVs.
I mean, it'd be like Celtics Lakers fourth quarter. Let's check in on the Minnesota Sphinx Detroit Shock game. No way.
Blown layup. And also I never even thought they played at the majors at the same time too, because I wasn't even thinking about that. Even because women's golf is not as popular as men's, it's getting more popular, but they don't play the same majors, the same courses.
They don't cross back and forth.
Yeah, like I never even really thought about that either. Like just a thing.
The only sport, and I prefer watching women's tennis because it's a little slower, and I'm a little slower.
Yeah.
Right. So I can actually.
It's a more digestible. Like Nick Kyrgios, he's great to watch. He's hitting 20 aces a match. That goes very fast. Sometimes it's monotonous, and then I would love to watch two
I want to get home and
Russians,
just eat some food. I don't
Russian
even want to bother with you
women
anymore.
battling out in the baseline. It's just a great match.
Yeah, for sure.
Am I going to get in trouble for impersonating Nick Kyrgios?
No.
I don't think so.
Oh, no.
It's an Australian thing.
Yeah, but I'm
technically.
I'm doing a Greek twang.
Who are the big three in men's tennis? I don't know if this was all time or not. Jim said McEnroe, Sampras, Federer. Then he said Pat Cash, Pat Rafter, Leighton Hewitt.
Leighton Hewitt.
What that's referring to is Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, who I think Jim called Jokic. But yeah, I mean these last big three are the all-time leaders in Grand Slam, and it's because of this current era. But I like that he said, hey, let's talk about who's the greatest of all time. And I love that Mark Philippoussis' name showed up. What?
Yeah. The Scud, man. He was also...
Wait, that was his nickname?
Yeah, the Scud. Yeah, he had a very powerful serve that just sort of skimmed off a little bit. It didn't have a bounce to it, just hit the ground and skimmed.
Still not 100%
Love
sure
to play
it was
with
real.
it. Love to play with his shirt off, and he was a crowd favorite. And by crowd favorite, I mean a Costa favorite.
The girls like Mark Philippoussis.
Yeah,
they did.
Is that a
He's good
Costa?
looking. I think he might have dated Kornikova for a bit. Like he had a bit of a. He did all right, Philippoussis.
So you just mentioned the leader in Grand Slams. That was a question there. So who's won the most Grand Slam titles as a male and a female? Jim said Federer and Pavlova. I don't think Pavlova.
Yeah,
Martina
Pavlova. That's a made-up name, but yeah. Djokovic just became the leader after winning the French Open, and I think it's 24. Scott will definitely know the answer to that.
And is it Serena
Agrees.
Williams and
Agrees.
not, it's not
Confirms it.
Martina Navratilova?
What the fuck are these names?
Actually, Jim,
Martina
you should know.
Navratilova?
I don't
You
know
should
any of
know
these
the
people.
women's all-time leader because it's a female Australian who has come out publicly and said some quite controversial things, in particular around homosexual marriage.
That's our girl. Don't be upset with Margaret Court. Margaret Court, she has some opinions. She never liked playing with Billie Jean King and her ways.
Yeah.
Wait, is that true? She came out and said stuff about.
She used to play against. She was like Billie Jean King's main rival, Margaret Court.
Oh, I didn't know she was controversial. Yeah.
No, Margaret Court. Well, I think she was the original one that they wanted to have the battle of the sexes with, and she didn't want to get involved, and Billie Jean King got involved, and blah blah. There's a movie with Steve Carell, and but Margaret Court sort of, I think it's a bit unnatural and unnecessary, and and then she makes you some like sponge cake, and she's an old school Australian woman.
Correct.
Who is considered the greatest of all time as a male? Jim said Bjorn Borg, and as a female, he said Monica Seles right before she was stabbed. What is that?
Bjorn Borg is one of the all-time greats, but he's nowhere near the leaderboard in Grand Slams. He famously bankrupted himself and had to sell his Wimbledon trophies just so he could put food on the table after his tennis career.
Jeez. But he also retired very young, didn't he? So he retired very young.
Yeah,
so Bjorn Borg, said Bjorn Borg at his peak. He was unbeatable. He had a very low resting heart rate. McEnroe used to lose his shit at that cunt, man. You couldn't beat Bjorn Borg. Bjorn Borg.
So who would you say it is then? Jokovic? Is that?
Yeah, Djokovic. I didn't realize Forrest's question was who has the lowest resting heart rate.
Well, that would be me.
And a correction,
The doctor said dangerously so.
it's actually 23 for Djokovic. And Nadal has 22, Federer 20.
And what about Agassi? What did Agassi get? What is Sampras was the guy when I was growing up. Sampras was the guy that there was an era there that they couldn't really compare the tennis players because they went from wooden rackets to fiberglass or whatever, graphite. And then
Look at this thing. Look at this thing.
Yeah.
It literally here. Hold on a second.
When I
These
asked
things, they actually would warp.
Yeah.
So you had to put them in these. You had to put them in these things.
This is exactly right. You have this wooden thing with these screws on it. So my father, when I was about 14, I was like, can I have a tennis racket to go play tennis? And my dad's like, don't worry about it. I've got one. And then my dad gave me a wooden racket with one of those brackets on that you tie it on like that. Yeah.
I didn't know that's why that. I've seen those rackets before. I always assumed, because when I played, we had the graphite ones, but I always assumed that was just to protect it.
Like
I didn't know that was to keep it from warping.
You gotta keep
Yeah,
it taut.
I'm almost certain this one is warped because I bought it at an antique shop. But can you kind of tell? It's warped, right?
It's warped, yeah.
Yeah. So you're saying if because the older players are playing with that, if they had the technology of these rackets and
Well, you can't.
Well, yeah,
you can't compare even a McEnroe to a Sampras to a Djokovic. Now the technology is same with golf.
Yeah.
Baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, baseball, the technology hasn't changed, Jack.
But the training's changed.
I'm talking about actual things you're holding.
All
The
right,
bats are just wooden sticks, mate.
All right.
The where it was most interesting was Jimmy Connors started his career with one of these guys, and he finished his career with this aluminum heavy beast. But there was a time when you didn't know what he was going to bring to the match. So there was this, is he going to go old school or is he going to bring this like futuristic Wilson? I think it was called the T2000. I mean, this thing was like 60 pounds. It was like, but that's exactly when it switched over and the modern game became much different.
And then the greatest female tennis player of all time, who would that be?
Well, look, I posted a video that Serena Williams is not the greatest player of all time because Margaret Court holds the record, and I got absolutely killed. What a surprise! It became cultural based off of what I said.
Yeah, not by me,
Serena
mate.
Williams,
bloody lovely Margaret,
is without a yes. Serena Williams is without a doubt the best female tennis player to ever play the sport, but she doesn't hold the record for the most amount of Grand Slams.
Wow.
Imagine her name was Margaret Court.
Yeah.
She's quite an amazing name.
That's what they named the court after, I thought.
Yeah, like you don't get anyone called, David
Football.
Baseball Diamond.
Or what about a tennis player named Tennis Sangren? There's also a female whose last name is Volley Nets.
Wow.
Oh.
Huh?
Volley nets?
Wait, volley nets.
Look it up. Google Volley Nets tennis player. It's hilarious.
There was an American swimmer called Misty Hyman. So that's a fun name.
Yeah. I mean, Usain Bolt has a pretty fast last name.
Yeah,
that's
I tell you, I went to Jamaica one time on a cruise, and I had like a day off. You get into the port, and then you get into a taxi, and he goes, "Oh, for $50, I'll show you all of Jamaica." I'm like, "All right, I'll do this." So I get in the car, and then he took me. He goes, "Here is the school where Usain Bolt used to run." And I was like, the tour's come off pretty good. It started, that's pretty good. That's Usain Bolt school. I'm in. And then the next one, he goes, "There's the university that has 7 computers in it." I'm not kidding. That was just what he said.
Damn.
7 computers.
It's like a nosedive.
Yeah. And I'm like, "Oh, fuck, this tour's going to shit." And I was there with my ex. And then we go to the next thing. He goes, because we came in on a cruise ship, the next thing he stops us off. He goes, "There's the airport. Planes come in there from all over the world." And my girlfriend took a fucking photo. I'm like, we flew to the boat that we got on.
What is the term used when a player wins all 4 Grand Slam titles in a single year? And then what about in their career? Jim said EGOT. I think that's wrong.
EGOT.
Is that a calendar slam and is that a career slam?
I guess so, yeah. Yeah, that sounds right. Calendar slam.
Yeah, I mean,
and a career.
If you win all 4 in a row, starting with the Australian Open, which is the first Grand Slam of the year, they would call that winning the Grand Slam.
Yeah, that's what I always thought was the Grand Slam.
Yeah, but if you don't do it in calendar order, they would call it a calendar slam. Very impressive.
Yeah, a career Grand Slam. Yeah, okay. And has anyone ever done it in a calendar year?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, actually, that's a good follow-up question for Jim. A Australian player who he may have mentioned already has won 2 of those.
Yep.
Who is it?
And you may have sold out his
Rod
arena.
Laver. Rod Laver.
Oh, Rod Laver. Right?
Rod Laver. The Rod Laver. Yeah, he's our most successful one, Rod Laver. He's our number one.
Yeah.
He's our number one bloke.
Tweener? What is that?
That's when you're at net and someone hits the ball over your head and you run back and you hit the ball back in between your legs. And as a man, it takes particular skill because you can hit your penis head very, very hard.
Oh. or with a big girl, if she does it wrong, she can lose a racket.
I love that shot. That's a fan favorite, the tweener. I didn't know that's what
It's
it
a
was called.
fan favorite, and let's be honest, that's harder for men. That one's harder for men.
That's why they get paid more.
Yeah, exactly. Just that shot.
What do you call a woman who can spread her legs from one end of a tennis court to another?
What?
A net.
All right, moving on.
Cut that out, Jack.
What
I may not be able to serve up a tennis ball, but I can serve up the laughs.
what is Hawkeye?
Brett Tippy's back.
Oh, no, I know what Hawkeye is. Okay, stop. I gave a bullshit answer. Hawkeye is the computer sensor that will tell you whether the ball lands within the line, whether it's in or out. Let's go to Hawkeye. And then they check.
Yeah.
Is that right?
So there I get another point. I'm up to 8.5.
That's correct. Let me add a fun fact to that, though. There is a plus or minus differential on that thing. So it's basically guessing where the ball landed. Very, very precisely guessing. But it isn't the end-all, be-all. There's like a plus or minus 3 millimeters or something. But both parties, the umpire, the sport, agree we use it. And it's absolutely 100% changed the game of tennis. If Hawkeye was in existence when John McEnroe played tennis, we wouldn't even have John McEnroe. I mean, He was screaming at the umpires because they fucked up the calls so often, which they did.
Yeah.
So the sport has completely changed because of Hawkeye, and I think it's much, much better and much fairer.
Well, see, so I believe we're 3 years away, but that close, 3 years away from doing this with baseball.
Yeah,
It's like
it should be.
the strike zone. Like it's a little bit
the
ridiculous.
strike zone is already there. Isn't the strike zone kind of already there on TV?
It's
anyway?
already there on TV. We know with accuracy.
And they show it. They show when the ball's outside, and then you can complain about it.
The machine, like the technology already exists. I'll tell you, like, so if you want to see technology in sport, there's no sport that beats cricket. Cricket's got fucking everything. It's got too much stuff, and each season they bring in a new thing.
What do you need? What do you need the fancy stuff for in this?
Okay, so you got the snickometer, right? Which is something you listen to. Like you look at a sound wave. If it goes like that, it means it did hit the bat. So let's go to the snicko.
That's great.
Then you go to hotspot. Hotspot is where we go into black and white, and we go into fucking. We go into black and white, and we go into night goggle vision, right? And you see if the ball leaves like a little hot spot on the bat, like whether it did touch the bat or not.
Wow.
So you can see
it's like a thermal camera.
A thermal camera.
Wow.
So hot spot. Then you've got another one that's like Hawkeye, which actually does the trajectory of the ball to see whether it be LBW, leg before wicket. And they've done something. They put in there for a while. They put the microphones into the stumps, but it turns out all the Australian players were saying "cunt" a lot, and they were filming all day around these things.
I heard the U.S. military watches cricket just to try to see new and inventive ways.
I'm telling you, there's two bits of technology in the world that will always progress, and it's cricket commentary and toothbrushes. You can get every time you get a toothbrush, they'll go, "This has got new bristles that face this way, this way, with a tapered head, with a thing, with sonic." Like every year, toothbrush technology keeps going.
Let's keep going with these questions. What is the term for a shot in tennis that's hit before the ball bounces? Volley. I think Jim got that right.
I'm a serve volleyer, man.
That's great.
I asked this question you never answered. What is the name of the line at the back of the tennis court, Jim?
Oh God, the serve line.
Yeah.
No.
No, back line, liney line.
It's the base line, and as the service line is up front, even though you serve behind the baseline.
You know what I reckon?
Again, all of this was designed so poor people wouldn't learn it.
I reckon you get rid of the doubles bits on the side and just paint them in when you need them.
Yeah,
like just at the end when you do the doubles, because the woodies.
More Australian.
Okay, so Australia was in the doldrums of tennis for a very long time, right? But we had these two blokes called Woodbridge and Woodford, I think their names were, and their names were the Woodies, and they never got far individually. They were fine tennis players. They were ranked top 50 blokes or something. They never got very far individually. But in the doubles, they fucking dominated, and they won Wimbledon like 11 times or some shit. The Woodies. Check them out. It should be a movie.
Talking to me?
I'm talking to everybody. I'm talking
to me?
Talking about 150,000 people right now.
Is it accurate? Is this Woody stuff accurate, Michael?
Yeah, the Woody stuff is very accurate. I mean, the what's so funny about them is those guys would walk into a restaurant in New York City and they'd be told they have to wait 2 hours for a table, but they were world famous in Australia and everywhere else because they were such excellent doubles players. But obviously Americans don't give a shit about that.
Well, they lived in Florida for the tax breaks.
Okay.
Yeah, they made that's the career, man. They made a shit ton of fucking money and weren't that famous.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so nice.
I just saw something from 2020. It says the greatest tennis duo, the Woodies, are no longer on speaking terms.
Yeah, they don't talk to each other, the Woodies.
A lot of drama in the
They
Woodies
don't talk
world.
to each other, the Woodies. It turns out they were lovers
Interesting.
the whole time.
Wow.
Telling you.
We talked about the Battle of Sexus and Kyrgios. The famous tennis stadium located in Flushing Meadows, New York. You were saying there was two different things there, right?
I think it's called the USDA Billie Jean King Tennis Center, and the biggest stadium in the world is the Arthur Ashe Stadium, Center Court. Let me reverse it quickly to this Battle of the Sexes.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Because Billie Jean King beat Bobby Riggs in that match, and I don't want to rain on anyone's parade. Billie Jean King was in her prime at that point. Bobby Riggs was known as a bit of a gambler, as somebody who first made his load of money betting on himself to win Wimbledon, which he did. But there are some theories that he may have thrown that match to Billie Jean
I
King.
knew a woman couldn't win.
And the movie did not discuss this, really.
Damn.
Oh, they can't let that come out. That'll bloody set the women's movement back months.
Bobby Riggs used to go to Central Park in New York when he was the number one player in the world. And you can see photographs of this. And he would bet people thousands of dollars, except they would be allowed to handicap him. There's a picture of him playing a guy in Central Park holding 10 dogs on a leash because that was the handicap that they came up with. Another guy put like 6 park benches on his side of the court, and Bobby would have to jump over them to hit the ball. This guy was the ultimate showman.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting conversation. Did he throw the Battle of the Sexes? I don't know. And I would guess no, but it's an interesting conversation.
And then, so that's the biggest tennis venue in the world is the Arthur Ashe
Ashe.
Stadium, the stadium itself?
Yeah.
He was the first.
I think it's 20,000. I think it's 20,000 probably.
I learned that he
It's
was
like just under 24,000, right?
First athlete to have something built for him. I learned that in the movie Air.
Who's
the other
that?
day. Arthur Ashe had his own tennis rack. This is the Arthur Ashe tennis, and that sort of inspired the Michael Jordan shoe.
Oh, really?
Was that a good movie?
It was all right, yeah. Yeah, it was all right. Good dad film. You know, you sit down.
My dad loved that
Yeah,
movie,
you sit
yeah.
down and you go, oh, bloody, it's a bit of business, bit of sport, but no one's being active. And you know what? You know why the movie Air is a good dad movie? Because the hero is a fat bloke who knows a bit about sport. I don't know if he was fat in real life, but Matt Damon decided to play him that way.
So I guess it's around 24,000 you said, Arthur?
Yeah,
and
just
then
under.
in comparison, the Chicago Bulls, which is the largest basketball arena, is like 20,197.
Oh, so I went way. I should have. Rod Laver, 14,000.
It's too big though.
Yeah?
It's too big. They shouldn't have made it that big.
Oh, when
you
you-
can't see anything. It's a small sport. The tennis ball is tiny. Don't be fooled. That one behind me is extra big.
I thought
The
something
Arthur
was
Ashe,
off.
in my opinion, Arthur Ashe is way too big.
I feel the same way for comedy, and that's why I don't play arenas anymore.
That's right. And it sounds bad.
Yeah, I like to play those small, intimate rooms for you, the people.
And how long was the longest tennis match? Do we know who it was between and how long it was?
I would say it was the 3-day match between John Isner and Nicholas Mahut that was 68-66 in the 5th set, and it was probably played 10 years ago.
3
12
days.
years ago.
They just kept having to stop it?
Yeah.
It was like 11 hours or something over
I
the
think
course
they
of
were in
3
mahoots.
days.
Yeah. They had a rain delay, and then this was back in the day when the 5th set would not go to a tiebreaker. They would just keep playing until someone won by 2. But because the serves were so good and the grass was so fast, nobody could ever break serve. So literally the match fucking went on forever. As a guy who loves tennis, it was the most boring shit I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, I love it. Okay, so I was in Melbourne when the Australian Open was on last, and I remember because Kyrgios got injured like before he even sat on court or something. And there was games that were going till like 1 a.m, like stupid shit, because they put them on at night for television, all type of stuff, and they're like rain delay or whatever, and then it was like 1 or 2 in the morning that games were going. Great story.
I learned something.
Okay, this is a part of our show called Dinner Party Facts. We ask our expert to give us a fact, something obscure, interesting, that our audience can use to impress people about the subject. Do you have something for us, Michael Kosta?
Oh, that's right. I was supposed to come up with something, wasn't I?
Just give us a Philippoussis one. I can give you a Philippoussis one. One time he bought a car, didn't like it, left it on the side of the road. He had that much money. He did. Brand new sports car, he just left it on the side of the road.
I have an interesting fact that not a lot of people know that involves this subject. When I finished college, I wanted to play professional tennis, and my dad was like, great, I'm done paying for shit, and if you want to play pro tennis, we believe in you, we support you, but not financially. So I sold shares of Michael Kosta's professional tennis career for $5,000 a share, and I raised around $180,000, and that's what I ended up playing for two and a half years on the tour with. Were these people that invested in me and my career, and I gave them my prize money. So it's something that golfers do, but tennis players don't typically do that. But that's kind of an interesting dinner party fact.
Wait a minute. So what happened if you became a very successful tennis player? Because that's like investing in Apple, $5,000 a fucking share. So if you become world number one and I invested $5,000, I'd want to be a fucking millionaire, right? So
yeah, well,
what?
In my case, it was like them investing in Gateway Computers or whatever. But there was a contract. There was a 10-year contract of the breakdown of my prize money distribution if, fingers crossed, I were to make shitloads of money. And the first year I gave him like 50%, then the next year I gave him 40%. It was all signed, and it was legit. But there are real success stories like this in golf in particular.
And did any of them get any of that $5,000 back?
Yeah. People got about half back. I jokingly said I made $11,000 over 3 years. That's just in like ATP sanctioned events. I see that I froze. That's
you're good here. You're good here. Did you ever have endorsements?
Yes.
Like
He's saying he made more money than that, though. Yeah, that's what you were saying, Michael.
No, I made more money than that. So I would say everybody got about half their money back. I played with Prince tennis rackets. I played with Nike clothes, but I didn't make any money. They didn't give me money. They gave me clothes and they gave me rackets. That's it. No money.
Oh, that's so good.
All right. Well, thanks for being here, Michael Kosta. Again, please listen to his podcast, Tennis Anyone, everywhere you listen to podcasts, and go to michaelkosta.com for all his upcoming tour dates, and watch his special, too, his comedy special, Michael Kosta, Detroit, New York, LA. It's available on Paramount Plus and YouTube, and follow him on IG and Twitter, Michael Kosta.
Thank you, Michael.
Thanks for having me.
That was a good laugh, man. Thanks for being on the show, Michael. Now, you about to say something?
Thanks. About to say bye.
If you're ever at a party and someone comes up to you and goes, Margaret Court didn't win the most amount of things, Serena Williams did, go, well, I don't know about that. And then you walk up to another girl in the bar and go, hello, love, I'm 40, love. How you doing?
Thank you, bye.
Thanks, Michael. Bye.